And good morning, everybody, and a special moo to Sion and a boo to Chip. Oh, hang on, I just saw that my audio level is very high. Hopefully it's okay. Yes, there was a layer 1 issue. I pressed go live, like the on-air button on the ATEM, and instead of just going red, which it normally does, it started flashing red, and I was thinking, why is it flashing red? Why aren't I getting anything coming up in YouTube Studio? There is something going on. No Ethernet. Right, so first though, I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to Aboriginal elders and peoples from other communities who may be taking part in this live stream today. Now, good morning. So NMM has asked a question and then unfortunately had to bail from Chicago. So the question was, has my air quality sensor picked up any significant changes since the Tonga volcano clouds have passed over Australia? And the answer to that is, I actually don't know. I haven't been paying attention. And I haven't, no, I don't think logging has really been working on my sensors for a little while. And yeah, it's when events like this happen that in retrospect I think, oh, I wish I'd been recording the data from that, and I haven't been, so I don't know. Although it tends to be fairly decent in this room anyway. I try to keep it clean, and it's a reasonably well sealed room. But anyway, I don't know. If I had an air quality sensor that was sitting out somewhere more exposed, maybe that would pick something up. But I haven't seen anything, haven't noticed anything. So good morning to Sion, some call it fun, Gerald42, Michael, Chip, Sion, I already said Sion, Michael, Delane, Intermittent Tech, hey Intermittent, Iggy's here. So, you have sun where you live? Inconceivable. Right. So, Iggy, are you getting some new solar panels installed? I'd like to do that. I've never really... It's something that quite a few years ago I looked into, in terms of looking into the economics of it, and with the government grants and things that were around at the time, it was kind of iffy. My dad put solar on the roof at his place. He's the sort of person that will do something because he thinks it's the right thing to do, even if it's not necessarily economically in his own best interests. He's a bit of an idealist. So at the time when he had his put in, I think the end result was a net loss to him, or it started out okay and then the feed-in tariffs changed, and all of a sudden he was, there was some balance point where the payoff time for the panels became longer than the life expectancy of the panels. And I haven't even looked at the economics of it for many years. I've got no idea what it's like at the moment. My general vague knowledge, just based on what I've seen, is that things like the feed-in tariffs are bad now, and the subsidies have decreased, so the economics of it aren't as good as they used to be. But then, of course, panels have got cheaper and they're more efficient than they were 15 years ago. So I don't know. I'm curious about that. Yes, Sion, there are 2 of you, so you deserve 2 hellos. Tony, so hello from London, normally Adelaide. What are you doing in London? Yeah. London, what would it be like in London at the moment? Well, it's pretty hot here, which means it must be pretty cold there. My guess is that it's kind of grey and slushy in London. So Sion says, I got a 5 kilowatt system, 2.8 kilowatt panel 6 years ago, maybe more, can't remember. Definitely not economically viable, no such thing as free energy in Oz. Yeah, Intermittent Tech got 44 panels here, 12.7 kilowatts. That's a big installation. And Iggy, where was it? Just going back up the chat. Yeah, 10 kilowatt or so plus Huawei battery. ACT government subsidy on battery is big at the moment. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we've had more. I hate making generalized statements like this because I don't necessarily have the data to back it up, but my feeling is that we've had more blackouts, and not just significant blackouts, but also little blip type interruptions over the last couple of years than we've had in the past. Maybe I'm just more aware of them now. I don't know. But yeah, I've been thinking for a while that a battery system would be useful as most of the house UPS, quite apart from energy storage from things like solar collection. Yeah, so battery systems are... If I was going to get solar, I would also want to get a battery system to go with it. Because of course, you can get solar without a battery system, and then you use the power yourself when you need it, and when you don't need it, you feed it back into the grid, and then you get the feed-in tariff rebated to your bill. But I think one of the real benefits or advantages would be if you had local storage. So collect the power from the panels, stick it into local batteries, and that way you have a bit of power that you can use to coast through the night, and you can also yeah, it means that you can do things like do tariff shifting. So pull from the grid when prices are low, and use your batteries and things when prices are high. So that's a whole interesting subject that I really know nothing about, and there are many, many really interesting YouTube channels that do just that sort of thing. Oh, Cable Ties here as well, and Mr. Fix-It. Thanks for coming along. Ooh, Alistair is just trying to one-up everyone. Is this where I chime in with 27 kilowatts and 40 kilowatt hours of storage? Yeah, okay. It's going to turn into a one-upmanship sort of competition, isn't it? Ah, yes. All right. I don't have the faintest idea what to talk about today. And I think I might have said this last week, that I really want to be able to do more live stuff. And I know Sion does lots and lots of live stream work, like actually doing work on a live stream. And that seems really, really scary to me. I want to be at least a little bit prepared. Otherwise everybody sees that I don't really have a clue what I'm talking about. But I suppose that secret's out anyway. The cat's out of the bag. Oh, Alistair, so you did an LCA talk last year on it. Cool, I missed that one. Yes. So what I would like to do, so anyway, what I've been wanting to do, and this is actually one of the reasons that my Ethernet was messed up on my ATEM, is I'm continuing to play around with my live stream setup, because I want to be able to do things like run Eagle and KiCad and Fusion 360 and all of those sorts of things on my main desktop computer, and have that live streamed while I'm working and chatting to all of you. And I should stop fiddling with that. I'm probably making annoying noise. What this actually is a USB memory stick that my dad dropped off maybe a week ago. Maybe I should stick this in the computer and see what's on it, because this is actually baby photos and things of me. It's been going through. So my dad is really into photography, and has been since like before I was born. He had a dark room at home, and so he used to do all of his own film processing and prints and things like that. So yeah, he had dark rooms at several of the houses that he lived at. And so when I was little, up until I was probably late teens, in fact, it would have been when I was into my 20s, he still had a dark room at home. And so sometimes I would, and also I did, at school, I did a photography, like an extracurricular sort of photography thing. And so a few times I would go in and use his darkroom and the chemicals and things, process the film and use the enlarger and expose the photographic paper and make prints and things. But anyway, the point of all of that was that he has been taking a very large number of photos since before I was born. A couple of weeks ago, when he dropped in here, he brought this memory stick and said, "Here are some pictures for you," and it is photos from my childhood onwards. So I haven't even stuck it in my computer yet to see what it is, but I am kind of curious. Yes. So, yeah, Sion, talking about live streaming work, Sion said it's tough, do not recommend it. Yeah. What I would like to do though is maybe little snippets or progress reports and just showing things within the design tools rather than just, end result boards. I don't necessarily, when I'm designing a board, it takes so long, and yeah, it's kind of embarrassing how long it takes sometimes. Yeah, I'll say, I've got this thing, I want to design this, or I'll show, something like the air quality sensor board. So this is the version 3 air quality sensor, by the way, the prototype with the ESP32 on the back and the shrunk PCB. And then I might spend, it won't just be hours, it'll be days messing around with designing, getting the schematic right, designing the PCB, and getting all of the mechanicals right. So in this particular case, it's moderately complex because it's a layered stack up. I've got parts on the back of the PCB, and there's a little vertical mount USB socket there. I've got buttons coming out the back, and there is the particulate matter sensor on the front, and then overlaid on top of that is a display which is on a header to give it more vertical height. So designing the structure of it is like a multi-layered thing, and getting all the clearances right. So there's a bit of messing around in Fusion 360 and stuff to sort all of that design out as well. But going through all of that, and I think also partly because I obsess about designs, I will, once I've got a design to the point where it's technically complete, it passes DRC, I could send it off for fabrication and it would work, I will still sit there in the evenings with my laptop in the lounge room in front of the TV and spend another 4 or 5 hours just doing nothing but shoving tracks around. It's like, oh, I don't like the angle on that track, or if I bring this over here, then I can increase the size of the ground pour that goes, around that particular feature. And I'll just keep fiddling with it until it gets to a certain point where I just go, I could be fiddling with this forever, and I just need to generate Gerbers and send them off. So, yes. And where was I going with that? The point of all of that is, if I live streamed the entire process of designing something, I would be here for days. But I think there is a middle ground that I can do, where a lot of that time just sitting there staring at the screen and thinking and visualizing things, which is not very exciting to watch, I can do that off the live stream, but then discuss some of the design aspects or decisions or reasoning behind things. And at the moment, that is quite hard, because if I fire up Fusion 360 on this computer, which is right now it's running OBS. So my big goal here is to get away from running OBS on my desktop. If I can achieve that, then I don't have the canvas issues with Fusion 360, which is running on Rosetta 2. It's not native on Mac, and it improves a whole lot of performance issues and things as well. So That's why I've been messing around with it. I want my desktop computer to be doing nothing, having nothing to do with the live stream. I want it just to be doing its own thing and then be capturing the video off HDMI and pulling that into something else so that the live stream can happen off another platform. Yes. So just before it scrolls off my screen, Simon asked, just wondering if you had time to play around with ESP32 and display you showed last week. Yeah, so that is exactly the sort of thing that I would like to show a bit more of. Now, right, yes. Oh, Cable Tie says, Xeon seems to be able to just move past some of the stuff that he later spends time to complete in detail, both in PCB design as well as coding. Yeah, that's a good skill. So, oh, Johnny says, so the M1 Macs suck. Got it. Yeah, the issue, as far as I understand it, is that non-native applications still run through Rosetta 2, which is the compatibility layer, and the way they do their rendering on the canvas can be a little bit dodgy depending on the program. And the problem is that on its own, Fusion 360 works fine. On its own, OBS works fine. But if I try to run them both at the same time, there are problems. And often it'll work for a while, and then one of them will lock up, or it'll start having rendering bugs or something. So if I'm trying to do something live streaming Fusion 360, that's the worst possible combination. Oh, Kevin says, I run Fusion 360 and live stream at the same time, and it's fine. On an M1 Mac. Cool. Maybe things have improved. That would be good. I know there have been plenty of releases. All right. Now, this is coming back to the thing about the question Simon had earlier, and I can see that there is heaps of chat that I have been missing. So here we go. I'm going to risk it all, and I'm going to launch Fusion 360. Because actually after there was a comment last Sunday. I wonder if this is going to get stuttery just while I'm launching Fusion 360. Hopefully it won't. Oh, Kevin says, I live stream with Ecamm Live, which is Mac native. Ecamm Live? What is that? Is that like an OBS alternative? I don't think I've ever heard of it. I am curious to know. All right, let's, I am going to go, while Fusion is opening, I'm going to go Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live, powerful live streaming platform for Mac. Well. Pricing, okay, so it's a commercial thing. Let's see if it's at a reasonable price, because if this works well, standard, $16 a month. Okay. No Ecamm watermark, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That is something that I think is probably worth doing the trial for, just to see how it works. All right, Fusion 360 is almost finished opening, and then we'll see how this goes, because I haven't actually sent the design files off for this yet, but I will show you where I'm up to. Last week, okay, that's right. So following the train of thought from earlier, last week, I can't remember who, but someone in the chat asked if I was still using Eagle for PCB design. I was something like, yes, I'm still using Eagle for PCB and the integration with Fusion 360 for the visualization side of it, but that I really need to look at moving designs natively into Fusion 360, because Eagle has now stopped getting updates. It's the inevitable thing has happened where the development team's effort is now entirely in Fusion 360. So all of the new features that they were adding to Eagle are being added to Fusion 360 instead. And so after that live stream last Sunday, I actually spent the rest of the day messing around with migrating a couple of projects into Fusion 360 native just to see what it was like. and it's actually kind of good. What am I looking for now? That's right, I'm trying to find, where did I drag the chat window? Oh, there it is. Chat window was out of sight for me, and in just a second I'm going to show you my screen. Where are we? Here, and come on, here. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. So desktop, and the screen, the part of the screen that I'm capturing is way too small. So how big can I make this? I can take it out to about there, and then you can see everything, I think. Alrighty, so what I experimented with, oh, hang on, I didn't have that in quite the right position. I don't think that's really going to matter for you though. You are not going to care. Come on. Just trying to drag a window. Why can't I drag it? There. Alright, close enough. That'll do. So what I did was take some existing projects that I had in Eagle and created a new electronics project in Fusion 360, and then linked the PCB file and schematic to the Fusion 360 project. And this was the end result. So what I've got here is, this is the project. So the way this seems to work, and I am still just fumbling around in this and figuring out what the hell is going on. The way it seems to work in Fusion 360 is that you create a project and then there are one or more schematics and PCBs linked to it. You know, the same way a lot of this sort of ECAD software works, like the way KiCad works and that sort of thing. So you create a project, and then inside your project you've got the different things that you work on. Lots of spinning beach ball. Yes. Right. So, oh yeah, so yeah, Sion is correct. Cable Tie asked the question, do I have paid F360? Yes, I do. I paid for, yeah, I was paying for Eagle anyway, because I've been using Eagle commercially for how long? About 12 years, I think, I've been using Eagle commercially. So I paid for a license for it, and then it was one of those things where when they did their licensing switch, they went from, you are no longer paying for Eagle, you now pay for Fusion 360 and you get Eagle free. It was like one of those pull the rug out from under you sort of things. And so I just kept paying the fee. And also I've been using Fusion 360 commercially quite a bit over the last couple of years. So I don't have any problem with paying licensing fees for software if it's being useful for me commercially and people want to be paid for making their software. That's fine by me. I don't have a problem with that. It's just a matter of balancing what is good price performance and that sort of thing, and of course I would prefer to use open source software. Anyway, this is getting into a whole different area. Also, after this, so last Sunday, I spent the rest of the day messing around with Fusion 360. During the week, I also installed the new Eagle 6. Oh, not Eagle 6, KiCad 6. And that is, the interesting thing is that KiCad 6, I think I actually waited until a really, really good moment for this, because there is the brand new release of KiCad, which has had, seems to have had quite a big overhaul compared to previous versions like the 5 series. And things like keyboard shortcuts have changed. And like for decades, way back from like before Altium days. What was Altium before it was Altium? It was, I can't even remember what it was called. I used to use the thing that Altium was before it became Altium. Protel or something? I don't remember. I've definitely used Protel, but I'm not sure if that's what became Altium. So back like 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I was using the precursor to Altium. And there are things like keyboard shortcuts, like R for route, that people have just been used to for decades. And the keyboard shortcuts on both Eagle and KiCad were, well, they were quite different to each other. Eagle had a really strange command line system, and in fact you can still use it in Fusion 360 electronics now. For backward compatibility, they've maintained it. But there are also single key shortcuts, and KiCad 6 seems to have largely adopted the single key shortcuts that have been used in things like Altium for a long time. And Fusion 360 electronics now has those shortcuts as well. So the interesting thing is that doing a migration from Eagle/Fusion 360 to KiCad now is a lot less jarring than it was 6 months ago, because the user interfaces seem to be converging just a little bit. So yeah, I am seriously messing around with KiCad as well. But anyway, that's not what this thing is about. What this was about was this project, because it all came out of Simon's question about have I played around with that ESP32 touchscreen that I was showing on the stream last week. And this is the result. So I think I showed you some of this. Let's get rid of the inspector. There's stuff that, get rid of the data panel. What else can we get rid of? I've got this whole thing squished down into a little window for capture for streaming. This is not how I would, like, normally I would have much more space available for the actual schematic part of it. So anyway, we've got two sheets here. We've got the mainboard header that goes to that thing. We've got the I/O expander, which is the classic old MCP 23017. There's an e-stop input that I added last minute, Y-axis limit sensor, X and Y-axis stepper drivers, and on the other sheet of the schematic we've got the CAN bus interface, and what else do we have? PCB sensors, left and right end, voltage regulator, power switch, ready in, ready out connectors. So we've got reed switches and opto isolators for those. So I've got an opto isolated, and as someone on the stream last week suggested, why was I taking power for the opto isolator from the, I haven't changed this value yet, I need to fix that. I was taking this from the 5-volt rail, and someone in the, which is still quite viable, still valid, but someone suggested that I take it from the 12 or 24 volt rail. The thing is that I don't actually know what this power rail is going to be, because it's just going to depend on what people feed into it. It could be 12 volts, it could be 24 volts. But anyway, the opto isolator supply now comes from the raw power input, so it'll be whatever you want it to be, and the read relay output is just isolated, so it doesn't care. And these little read relays are rated to surprisingly high voltages. I was kind of shocked when I saw that. Anyway, what else have we got? PCB. So, oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. So we've got this thing up here. It says click or press slash to activate command line mode. So this is where the classic Eagle style command line lives, and it's disabled by default. But I am just going to hit slash, and you'll see that we now have focus in the prompt, and I can type one of, it still supports the old Eagle style command. So if I type, say, rip, oh, and auto completion as well. So if I do R, there it does rat's nest as the first option, and then I, rip up. So it narrows down its selection. It's like keyword with auto completion. So if I do rip up at semicolon, it does the rip up on the board. Oh, and this is one thing that I find really annoying. There are a couple of things I find very annoying about Fusion 360 electronics. I've now done I haven't actually changed this design at all. That last command that I just did, that rip up command, that was just to unpour all the polygons. So, oh, what's with that grid view? Let's let's make that 1 and turn it off. So that was just to unpour the polygons, and it now thinks that the 2D and 3D documents are out of sync. And you can see that it thinks that the PCB is unsaved, even though I haven't even made any changes to it. And if I close this now, it'll say, do you want to save your changes? So it seems to think that anytime you touch anything on the board, it's now flagged as dirty and has to be saved and has to be resynced to the 3D. Although I suppose a rip-up, I wonder if a rip-up does affect the 3D representation. So if I come over to the 3D version, let's see. Oh, come on. Yes, my little M1 with 8 gig of RAM is struggling. All right, so yeah, I just wonder if the representation here, gotta wait for it to catch up. Why isn't my Space Mouse working? Now it should. Yes, there it goes. Okay, so here we can see that there's a ground plane on this. I wonder if I resync this, yes. So let's try, I'm just going to save this with the ground plane ripped up. I bet that if I closed this and reopened it, the ground plane would be back there again, like the polygons would have been re-poured. But anyway, so now, oh yes, and the other thing is that the integration between the electronics workspace and the 3D workspace is not as tight as I wanted. I really wanted, encountering performance issues, no kidding. I really wanted or expected that it would be much more tightly integrated than it is. So maybe this is just a, I don't know, maybe it's a developmental issue, because the electronics functionality in Fusion 360, like the schematic and the PCB layout portion of it, are probably still the Eagle code base that has been munged into it. And even though it's existing within the same user interface, it is not it is not as integrated as it could be. So it still has some of that thing where it feels like you've got two different programs and you have to synchronize between them. Stephen W says, I think you need to consider moving to a 14 or 16 inch MacBook Pro with 32 or 64 gig of RAM. I have one. Where is it? Over here. So I have a 16 inch MacBook Pro. How much RAM did I get? 32 gig, I think. It's it's with the M1 Pro processor, and yes, it is definitely faster. So I'll try not to go down this sidetrack too much. The machine that you're looking at right now, what I'm running this on is a base level M1 iMac, and I bought it with the financial assistance of the supporters of this channel. Thank you very much. Not long after the M1 came out, because the iMac that I was running was so slow that it was just unusable. I would try to open a program and it would take 5 minutes to open. It was ridiculous. So the idea was that this computer was kind of it was a big step up from what I was using, but it's still a stopgap measure. Ultimately, what I'm hanging out for is when Apple bring out their new desktops with those higher end processors in them. And at that point, I will probably get something like a Mac Mini, like if there's a Mac Mini with the M1 Pro or the M1 Max, then that would really be what I wanted to get. But nevertheless, this is a big step up. Now, one thing I do like is they've changed some of the visualization here. You can see this little line along the edge here. That is showing, based on the current design rules, where the pullback is for things like ground pours. So it means that you can get some concept of where things are going. Like normally what you would do is, if I did a, oh, and I'm just trying to figure out where everything is in here. Where is Rat's Nest? I can't remember. Quick route polygon, Rat's Nest, layers, edit. I don't even know where it is. I have not spent very much time working on this, and I don't think like if I did Rat's Nest like that, it would do it, but I'm not sure where it is in all of these buttons. So I'd have to, and also you can customize this menu, which is cool. Now where is, I'm going to find this. Where is Rat's Nest? It's got to be in here somewhere. Fan out, quick route, polygon, rip up, rework. No, modify. How can Rat's Nest not be in there anywhere? Oh, maybe it's under document? No, that wouldn't be it. Rules and DRC. Oh, one thing that is nice is as you would expect, the mechanical aspects of this are so much better than it used to be. So, design. Come on, where is Rat's Nest? Someone's probably in the chat shouting at me. Anyway, I'm going to stick to my keyboard commands for now until I figure out where everything is, or give up and go to KiCad. Yeah, so as I was saying, the current lack of integration, or the loose integration between the electronics workspace and the 3D workspace is actually making me think that going to something like KiCad for the electronics part of it, and continuing to use Fusion 360 for the 3D part of it, might not be too bad. If this was better integrated, I wouldn't even consider changing. But just as an example, if I come back here, so I'm now in the 3D version, and this is now out of date. See, this needs to be updated. It's being very laggy there. Let's switch to, come on, I clicked you. Display settings. Camera perspective, just so that it's not as visually jarring. Alright, so this design is now out of date compared to what is here in PCB. And if I do, I'm just going to do that rip up again. I'll do that. And it says 2D and 3D PCB documents are out of sync. Okay, but what do I do about that? How do I fix that? So I am going to oh, this has descended into a critique of Fusion 360 for ECAD. And it's not looking good so far. How do I fix it? How do I resynchronize my 3D version with, oh yeah, I did the save earlier. So Johnny says, how about save? Come on, change. All right, so I'm going to do save. I'm not going to bother putting a thing in there. Get rid of the inspector. And so this was last Sunday that I was messing around with this, and I've forgotten how it was that I did the update, and it is not obvious from in here how to do it. View, how do I push that change through to the 3D representation? Because normally when you're working with Fusion 360, if there is a component that's out of date, what it shows is a little icon up the top, and you just click it and it pulls in the most recent version of the component. But in this case, it is not showing it. So can I come back into the data panel and do an update? Nope, it's not showing anything out of date there. Yeah. Oh, save the project. Okay. Instead of saving, yeah, the project doesn't need to be saved. But okay, I will try saving it. Nope, it won't actually save because there's nothing to save. So at the moment I have the 3D project saved, and I have the 3D project saved, they're out of sync, and there is no indication of how to actually resynchronize them. Anyway, this is the sort of thing where that annoyance of looking at this and going, why isn't that in sync? Why isn't there just a big button up here that says resynchronize? Or it's got this warning here. I can click it, it does nothing. Why doesn't it have a thing in here where you just click it and it resynchronizes? Or I can understand it not resynchronizing live, like every time you save. You might have all sorts of other things going on in your 3D thing. And also it's bidirectional. So if you make changes in here, you can push the changes back into electronics. So that is actually one thing that is really powerful about this. Oh, someone's messaging me. Sion and saying, read the chat. Yes. Oh, and everybody's saying save. I've been doing it. By clicking on the 3D tab, the solution is to press the View 3D button or drop down list on the switch menu. Yeah, okay. That's Sion's way of slapping me around the head. So, here we go. Push to 3D PCB. Okay, in switch. And 3D PCB with canvases, with geometry, I'm just going to leave it defaults and push it. Okay, so we can push it that way. And now this should update. But what I want to know is whether... So where all of this came from was I removed the rat's nest on the... I removed the polygon pore on the 2D version of the PCB, and I wanted to see if that representation came through on the 3D version. I suspect it won't. Come on, update. And yeah, you can see it sitting here spinning and spinning. This, these road bumps are what could finally drive me to switching to KiCad for PCB layout. Preparing for compute. Okay, computing PCB extrude 2%. I think I'm going to go and have a drink while waiting for this. Hooray, compute finished. Because the thing is that if there is this degree of disconnection between the electronics workspace and the 3D workspace, there is no benefit to having it all integrated. It might as well be a separate program and then do a synchronize through or whatever, rather than having it all inside the same UI. Now, there are some nice things about having it in the same UI, and I have got quite accustomed over the last couple of years to the Fusion 360 interface for 3D stuff and the way you can customize all the buttons and things. Anyway, so Sion is shouting at me saying, not needed, just click on the 3D icon. Anytime it's out of sync, just click on the 3D PCB icon on the PCB editor page. Okay. Now, at this point, I have no idea what Fusion 360 is actually trying to do. This could be one of those situations where, or maybe it is getting there eventually. Yeah, this could be one of those situations where it crashes because I am also running OBS. What I found is that it'll work for a while and then weird things will start happening. Oh look, there's a selection that's moving around. Where is it going? I'm moving the cursor around and there is a selection area that is jumping around. So, yeah. Yes. And as Cable Tie says, any tool change like this takes a concerted effort to learn, then you'll be okay. Yeah, that's right. Changing tools is annoying. And come on. Okay, now, I don't even know if this is actually updated yet. I think it might have. Okay, I'll go back to the PCB view. Alright, so here we have, oh, and it says it's unsaved again. Alright, I'm just going to hit save, not make any other changes. 0 changes, and you see it's at V18 in Fusion with a little asterisk, which means that the file is unsaved. And I've now saved it, or it is saving, with the Open Activity Monitor. Good question. Activity Monitor. While Fusion is saving. There are a couple, it says Fusion 360 not responding. It will be, it's just that it's being so slow that the system thinks that it's not doing anything. CPU, come on. Alright, I'm going to stick that off to the side out of view for now. Well, maybe it is responding, maybe it isn't. I don't know. It could be that it's it has died. It's still got the spinning beach ball. Or it could just be that it's taking a really long time to do what it needs to. So, yes. What I was attempting to show you here was that I had successfully got this project moved over into Fusion, and I was making changes with it. So I've been doing, since changing that over, like since importing the Eagle files, I have been making changes to this. I've made changes to the schematic, and one of the things that is nice is that because I've been using managed libraries for a while, all of my Eagle libraries are automatically available in Fusion 360, and they're all synchronized. So yeah, it's getting there. It's doing something. Or is it crashing out because the number of tabs has just decreased, as if it's what? Oh, I think it thinks it's being so slow that my random mouse movements, it thinks that I was dragging this out into a separate window. Now this is one thing. Okay, this is one thing that is nice. You can have multiple projects open in Fusion 360, and you can split tabs off into separate windows. So for either something like an ultra-wide monitor like I've got, or multi-monitors, it means that, because this is one of the things that was quite frustrating about Eagle, is that you could only open one project at a time. Now you can open multiple instances of Eagle, and I used to do that quite regularly. You do, on the command line, you can type Eagle, no, what is it? Open -a Eagle in capitals, or is it -n? I think it was -n. And macOS would launch a second copy of Eagle, and so you could have things like 2 projects open, and you can copy and paste between schematics and that sort of thing. But it's kind of a hacky workaround. Eagle isn't designed to open multiple projects, whereas Fusion 360 is. And one of the things that I really dislike about the Fusion 360 for 3D projects is that the tabs are all permanently docked. So if you're working on a couple of projects, and you want to have multiple views open simultaneously, you can't do it. You have to switch between tabs. You can't have one visible, like 2 visible in 2 different windows. And luckily they fixed that for the electronics thing. So what you can do is you can drag out the different tabs. So I've got the PCB layout there, and where am I? Let's come back to is this a schematic tab? These little icons are too similar. They they don't differentiate what they are. Okay, so I've now pulled out once it finishes its rendering thing, I'll have pulled out the schematic, so you can have them visible at the same time. And you can do this with multiple projects. So I could have a whole lot of different windows open here, all in Eagle. No, it's not Eagle. All in Fusion 360 all at the same time. So you can see here that I have separate windows for the schematic, the PCB, and the 3D view. And you can easily redock them. So that is nice. That is actually an improvement, and then you just click that little thing and it redocks that tab. So, where did that go? It's back there, so I'll redock that tab, and now they're all back in the same workspace. Yes. Yeah, Stephen says 9 gig swap isn't going to be doing you any favors. Yeah, this is not the computer to be doing this stuff on. This is an absolute base model machine. And yeah, it does feel a hell of a lot nicer on my laptop, which is the M1 Pro processor. So, it's got more RAM, it's got more performance cores, it's just generally a whole lot better. Now, what was I doing? That's right, okay, so this is now all saved. I have saved the I've saved the PCB without the pour into those polygons, and if I click on push to 3D PCB, just leave defaults and push. Now I want to see if that representation changes in here. As I said before, I don't think it will. No, it doesn't seem to have so far. Nope. So yeah, there are some little weirdnesses like that. So the flags that are used inside the software, so inside Fusion 360, to mark things as dirty and needing to be flushed to disk or saved or whatever, seem to be a little bit strange, because what it was doing then was, in this case, indicating that it needed to be resynced, but it actually made no difference on the sync. So if I do a rat's nest on this, which is not actually changing the design, so it'll now do these polygon pours. That is not a change to the design at all. Like pouring or unpouring the polygons, it's no difference. And now it says that this is dirty, it needs to be saved. It's flagged as unsaved, and it says the 3D document is out of sync. But if I now push, I might have to save it before I can push it. Oh, no, okay, it's let me. So if I now push to the 3D version, it actually has not changed the 3D version. There is no difference whatsoever, but it thought it needed to be pushed. Lots and lots of little things like that. Now, the thing is that Fusion is a very complicated piece of software, and I don't want to be ragging on the dev team, because what they've undertaken to integrate Eagle into it is actually a really, really big thing. It's it's a massive job. The fact that this is working at all is kind of amazing. And I think it's just going to keep getting better. But for now, oh yes, so the other thing that makes me hesitant about this, and that would tip me towards using KiCad, is the fact that this is all online. The cloud nature of this, the cloud storage nature, and what that means, that has a few implications. There is local caching, so if you want to be able to work offline with Fusion, you can. It's got, you can flag projects for local caching, and it downloads all of the assets, and then everything is on your local computer. You can start up Fusion 360 while you're offline, you can do all the edits and that sort of thing, and then it synchronizes next time you're online. So you can still work without an internet connection. And my inclination is to just flag every single project, like flag everything I've got as cache for offline use. so that I always have a local cache. But the thing is that when you save it, it's saving it and pushing it back to the Autodesk cloud system. It's not saving files onto your local computer that you can then version with Git or whatever you want to do. Stephen said, have you considered just using the MacBook as your primary desktop by using a Thunderbolt dock? You get extra performance with all the desktop accessories. I have kind of considered it. The thing is that it doesn't work very well for the way that I work. I have in the past had a laptop that is docked as my primary computer, and I found that it just doesn't work for me because I would be constantly docking and undocking. And so the workflow that I found that works for me is to have a permanent desktop computer and a laptop that I can take around with me. And I think it's because of the way that I work in this workspace is that I might be working here sitting at my desk, and then I want to go into a different room and still have a computer that I can use. So I need a laptop that I take with me and then plug it into something to upload firmware or do whatever. And so if I only had one computer, which was a laptop, and I was docking it, I would be docking it and undocking it dozens of times a day. It wouldn't just be walk in at the start of the day, plug it in, and now I've got my computer for the day. So if I ended up doing that, my laptop would end up permanently here and I'd have to buy another laptop. So I suppose that is a possibility. But anyway, yeah, so Sai says, get an M1 Max and an M1 Air. Yeah, so what I could do is just permanently dock my laptop, leave it here, and get a cheap laptop like an M1 Air as my carry around machine. That is a possibility. Why is this still beach balling at me? I've got no idea what. I've been sitting here talking for a few minutes now, and Fusion 360 just seems to. I think that's it. I think it's done. I think I might have to terminate that process. So here we go. I can't even get to the menu when it's focused on that. So let's see. Force quit. Force quit. Fusion 360. Force quit. Yes. Do it. Bye bye. Okay. All of that was because I was just it started because I wanted to show you what I had done since last week for the conveyor project with that ESP32 touchscreen, and I actually still want to show you. So I'm going to try relaunching. This could be living dangerously. I'm going to try relaunching Fusion 360, but this time I'm not going to be screwing around in it. I am just going to open the project and show you the end result of where it is right now. And I have not yet sent these files off for production because there are a couple of other boards that I'm waiting on finishing so that I can batch up a whole lot of boards with JLC PCB. Yeah, Sai says, on second thought, get a laptop with USB and a card reader. That's actually one of the things that is really interesting about, I'm going to grab it while Fusion is opening. So this is my, if the camera will switch, recovery file. Yeah, okay, get stuffed. Got to go to front camera. Okay, so not that you can see anything, I'm just waving a laptop around. But anyway, check this out. SD card slot. which is great when you're working with cameras and Raspberry Pis and things, because it means you can just get a micro SD card in an adapter, plug it in there, and you can do things like write disk images onto SD cards, USB-C, and HDMI, of course, and on the other side, 2 more USB-C. And I have all the cables that I need to connect USB-C, so I don't even need dongles. I've got USB-C to micro B, USB-C to USB-C, USB, I don't know. Anyway, I've got, when a little while ago I went out and I basically just, on AliExpress, I looked through USB-C cables and found USB-C to pretty much everything and ordered a few of each one. So if I want to plug in, and most of my own boards for a couple of years now, I've been putting USB-C connectors on them. So if I wanted to, if I had, what am I looking for? I don't know. I was looking for something like a Rack 32. It's got USB-C on it, so I wouldn't even need dongles most of the time, which is great. Austin says, my license for Autodesk expires in about 20 days and I have no intention of renewing, trying KiCad and FreeCAD instead. Sai says, do I have a USB-C to serial? I do, through, well, my ESP flasher, which is USB-C to serial. That's got a USB-C socket on it and it's got a serial interface on the other side. So, yes. There are very, very few things where I would need to plug in a, like a USB A or B type connector to the laptop. And I've got adapters, I do have adapters for that. I've got USB-C to other dongles. Anyway, cable tie. When I say micro B, I always think of the ZAD microcomputer from the 80s, yes. Yes, oh, and Podline Production says, just make sure your USB cables are not just crappy charge cables. Yeah, I know. That is a trap. USB-C is a nightmare. I could rant about that, but I'm not going to. All right, so back to, while I've been not paying attention, Fusion 360 has reopened. And come on, switch to desktop. Yep, that's it. And where was I? Conveyor. Open, and I'll just look at the, I'll just open the 3D version this time. I'm not going to bother with the other. Open recovery document. No, let's just ignore all the things I was just messing around with. I probably broke a bunch of stuff. No, I didn't break a bunch of stuff. I didn't even change anything. All I did was pour and unpour those polygons. That's it. And saved a bunch of times as a result of doing that. Go away, spinny beach ball. Let's see this PCB. So the, okay. The user interface in KiCad previously drove me nuts. It frustrated me so much that I would like rage quit whenever I was trying to do anything serious with it. But since the switch to version 6, I think it has improved significantly. So I think I'm going to seriously give it a go. And so part of the I'm just getting warnings off YouTube because my stream rate is low, and I think it's because Fusion 360 is freaking out again. Yeah, anyway, that's right. So Sion just said KiCad 6 was a game changer. Still lots of little frustrations, but worth the effort to move. Yeah, now this is one of the things where I am, and also a call back to Iggy's comment earlier about you have to just sort of get over the frustration of changing tools. And that frustration is always going to be there. And I am, in retrospect, glad now that I did not do a KiCad change like 3 months ago or 6 months ago and be in that phase where I am just getting used to the new thing and becoming really productive on it, and then things change again. And because KiCad has now just gone through this big release, I'm just going to kill Fusion 360 again, because this is just not working. So I'm just going back into force quit, and yeah, it says Fusion 360 is not responding. Force quit. Kill it. Kill it. All right, it's gone. So now that KiCad has just gone through this change, it's one of those like major events where you don't want to go through that very frequently. And so having just made all of those UI changes, like changing keyboard shortcuts is something that totally freaks people out, because when you're used to certain shortcuts and you're comfortable using them, it can be very hard to remap your brain. And so the fact that they have just done this big change means that it is quite likely to be stable for some time to come. I doubt that there will be another big radical change within the next few years. So it is an ideal time to switch, I think. If I'm going to go from Eagle/Fusion and switch to KiCad, now is the time to do it. Yeah. Sion says, I moved over doing the nightlies. 6 has been usable for 6 months, 6+ months, although stacks of Eagle import fixes near the end. Yes. Cool. Yeah. David T says, Fusion 360 already seems far from the metal, layered with bloat, and also heavily network bound, so adding Rosetta 2 to the mix, I'm not overly surprised. Yes. Being network bound is one thing that frustrates me about it, even from the 3D point of view. So prior to last Sunday, when I first started messing around with the electronics part of it, I'm maybe because of very bad experiences way back in the past, decades ago, I am one of those people who, when I'm using a computer and I'm working on things, I compulsively Command S. Like every few seconds, I'll be working on something, save, work on something, save, work on something, save. And possibly partly caused by Eagle. Like when I first started using Eagle 12 years ago, I think it was quite unstable. And for some years, you could be using Eagle, and then with no warning whatsoever, it would segfault and it would just vanish. It would be gone. And anything that you had done up until that point was lost. Now they added autosaves, like periodic autosaves, to help get around that problem, which was like putting wallpaper over a crack in the wall rather than fixing the underlying problem. But eventually they fixed the underlying problem. And for the last few years, Eagle has been very stable. I can't remember the last time that it crashed on me. So I'm not talking about Fusion 360 here and all the problems you've just been seeing. I'm talking about Eagle running on either Mac or Linux, which are the two platforms that I use it on. Yeah, it's been years since it has just spontaneously vanished. But that sort of experience is what has made me reflexively Command S all the time. So I don't want to be like, it gives me anxiety when I'm watching someone using a computer and they don't save their work. I have this feeling of like, it could just spontaneously disappear at any moment, and all of the things you've just done are gone. And the worst thing is when I see someone start something and they don't even save the document to start with. Like imagine you're just writing a document in a word processor or something, and you go into, I don't know, LibreOffice or whatever, and you do a new document and you just start typing, and then I've seen people who will do that and they'll work in a document for hours And they haven't even saved it once. It's still there like as untitled document which has never actually been written to disk. It makes me feel sick. I don't trust computers. So, yeah, I'm just one of those people that will Command S, Command S, Command S. And the problem with Fusion 360 is it is network bound. Because of this cloud-based nature, in Eagle, with its local disk storage, it is super fast. If I'm making changes and then I hit Command S, it's like, and it's done. It's just saved. It's on my disk, and I know it's okay. But with Fusion 360, you hit Command S, and it pops up the thing like where you type in the message about the change, and it's like what they're trying to do is make their save system somewhere that's more like a Git commit, where you have got to a checkpoint and you want to save this and have a message associated with this save. I don't think of saving that way. I think of saving as whatever is in RAM right now, I want it written to disk, so that if I get a blackout, it's there, or whatever. I just flush that memory to disk. But the way Fusion 360 works is a save is like a commit, and you write a message, and then you hit save, and then it has to resynchronize with the Autodesk Cloud, and then it'll be sitting there going, doo, 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 are you done yet? Are you done yet? And yeah, I hate that aspect of it. It drives me nuts. Yeah, Osai says Git commit isn't network bound at all. Oh, they should allow you to manually push. Yeah, I know. I use Git for everything, and this is my point: is that like up until a couple of years ago, my entire home directory was in Git. I used everything, my entire computer environment. I could. This was when I was using Linux as my primary desktop. I could do a clean install of Ubuntu, install Git, put my SSH key in place, and do Git checkout on my home directory, pulling it off like the network file server, and my entire environment would be there. Every single thing, right down to the dot files, everything was there. But the okay, but this is getting to the point. One of the critical things for me, and this really is where over the course of this week, since I've been playing with the electronics in Fusion 360, is how do I share stuff? If I save and it is being pushed to the Autodesk Cloud, where are the files that I can commit in Git and then push to GitHub so that other people can see them and play around with them? And the answer to that is you have to export in Eagle format. So at the moment, and this is my real worry, I think this is going to go away. If I have a project like this conveyor project in Fusion 360 and I want to share it on GitHub or wherever, any public location, the way I have to do that at the moment is export that project out of Fusion 360 Electronics as an Eagle schematic file and an Eagle board file. And then I commit them, and then I push to GitHub, and then someone else can download those files and import them. And what are they going to import them into? They're either going to have a copy of Eagle, which can import those files, and if Autodesk keep developing Fusion 360, at some point those files are no longer going to be backward compatible with the last release of Eagle, whenever it came out, which was sometime like a year ago or something now, since I think they did their last update. So at some point, it is no longer going to be possible to open those exported files with Eagle. At that point, Eagle will be functionally dead. It's not actually dead yet, even though it's no longer getting updates. It is still quite usable. I still use it every single day, and it works well. But once projects are migrated into Fusion 360, excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Yeah, once projects are migrated into Fusion 360 and you want to be able to share them, a time will come when you can only share them with Fusion 360. That is going to be the only option for opening those project files. And yeah, we've seen over the last couple of years what has happened with Fusion 360 licensing, with rug pulls on the hobbyist licenses and those sorts of things. So that makes me really, really nervous. And that reasoning alone is enough, I think, to make me want to switch to something like KiCad. Because when I'm in the development environment, or whatever you want to call it, when I'm in my ECAD software, when I hit Command S and save that project to disk, I want there to be files on disk that I can commit independently of the project. I don't want versioning layered into the software. I want to do my own versioning using Git and push those and save those somewhere publicly that other people can import them into their own development environment. So yeah, oh, and Austin's just pointed out something else. Fusion 360 keeps doing updates right when you want to work, or their server glitches and you can't access anything. Yeah, so yes. This Gavin Jackson just asked a very good question, which is not directly related to this, but oh, and Michael said someone needs to ask Sarah or Kathy. No, that is actually on me right now. So where is that? Andy was over here yesterday for a fair bit of the day, and we got a whole lot done yesterday. I'm just looking around because I think I moved it all out of the way. So what you can just see behind me over there, I'm moving out of focus now, but there are 6 rocklings. Those 6 rocklings need rework. They've got faults on them. But if I come over here, I have, how many is it? 17. So I have 17 rocklings here that are complete and as tested as we possibly can at the moment. Andy has another 20 something that he took away yesterday, and we have a big pile. How many did we have yesterday? 53, I think, of the new updated swag badges that are tested as far as we can possibly test them, and they are fully functioning. And on the bench behind me down that way, if I switch to this camera, down here, oh, move the seat out of the way. Here is a big pile of the party button PCBs. This is just some of them, which have had the some of the rework done to add the little patch to them. So there's probably a few more days of work to, well, that's probably being conservative. It's more than a few more days of work, but to get these done. But we expect that sometime this coming week, we are probably going to be in a position where we can start shipping out some of those kits. It's probably, oh, Cable Tie! Thanks for coming and hanging out with us for a while. So, yeah, I expect that sometime this week I will be taking a bunch of packages down to the post office and shipping off the first lot. So we've got somewhere in the order of 40-ish sets of stuff that is nearly complete. But yes, it has been a yeah. Oh, Gavin, I appreciate it. You're saying no pressure. I thought maybe it got lost in the post. I'm putting pressure on myself. I feel really bad that we haven't shipped that stuff yet. It's yeah. Thanks for asking the question. It is important, and Andy and I are very aware of it. So yeah, most of yesterday was spent on that, and yeah, sometime this week, hopefully, we will begin shipping. We shall see. Oh, Mr. Fix-It, just realised that Steve is missing. Yeah, Steve is there on that shelf because the Michael said they will get lost in the post because Australia Post. Yes. The thing that was sticking him onto my chair came off, and yeah, I know this was a problem last week as well. I need to sort Steve out, give him a more permanent home. Right. So, it kind of sucks that I hang on. I just thought of something. What I can do is no, but then I can't. Yeah, that. I'm just doing a quick mental calculation as to whether I can rejig things. I've got an HDMI lead here which goes into the ATEM. I've got my laptop here. I can capture that onto the ATEM. I could keep the audio going. I'd lose the other cameras. No, I won't do it now. I was going to restructure my live stream setup on the fly, but I will resist the urge to do that. Sai says, have you ever tried to reverse engineer an iPod click wheel? No, but I have heard that there is something really interesting about that design. Let's see, iPod click wheel. That sounds like a that sounds like a squirrel to chase. Now, I vaguely recall that there is something weird about the design of it, or something really clever, but I can't remember what the deal is. Uses input via touch sensitive because of 4 mechanical buttons. I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know what that question was about the click wheel. And hang on, where is that? I've lost the comment. Has it been deleted? Oh no, so I said, have you ever tried to reverse engineer an iPod click wheel? No. I am curious to know why you asked that particular question. What is it that... Is it because it has the... well, I can see that tenuous connection there to a theremin, so it uses CapSense, which is the way the theremin front end works. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, so a question from Zadin2-1. Notice a lot of Tasmota videos on your channel, but a quick search doesn't find anything about ESP Home on this channel. What is your opinion about it? My opinion about it is that I don't know anything about it. I am not an expert on this stuff. I just mess around with a few things. So I suppose the way I tend to work a lot of the time is that I will find something that works for me, and then I will just keep using it and not spend enough time looking around at other things. So like ESP Home, I know about it, I know of it. I don't recall whether I have ever actually installed it. Maybe I have. I might have done it at some point. So the thing is, I don't know enough about it to have an opinion on it. It's just one of those things where, yes, I know that's a thing and I know it does stuff, but is it better than Tasmoda, worse than Tasmoda? I don't have a clue. At some point, I started using Tasmoda, and I liked it, so I've kept using it. Yes. Right, ESP Home. Maybe I should config. What's going on there? Configuration files. Some weird thing going on. No, oh, let's not. I was going to start digging into the HTML of what was going on here. No, let's not follow that particular rabbit hole. Right. All right. So, okay. So, I asked Si why the question about the iPod Touch disc earlier. So, not iPod Touch disc, iPod click wheel. Trying to build a modern day iPod with Spotify. Look up Spod by Guy DuPont, but make it a little more polished. He did it on the 4th gen. I want to do it on 5th gen, but they shifted from 8-pin to 14. Ah. Okay. Alright, so there is a project there. Okay, I'm curious enough. Let's dig into this. Spod by Guy DuPont. Is that how it is? Guy DuPont. Day DuPont? Spotify in a 4th gen iPod, 2004. Alright. Guy DuPont. Okay. Retired iPod. So it's taking that physical device, and is it a hardware modification or is it just a software thing? Oh no, okay, so it looks like it's hardware replacement of the internals, or modification at the very least. Cool. Ricardo's alternate build. Yeah, okay, so it's taking the iPod, ripping the guts out, and putting in a whole lot of other stuff. That is kind of cool. So what's it got in it? Video, yeah, okay. That does look like a cool project. I've got an Apple Newton in, I think it's in the drawer over there somewhere. It'd be interesting to, every now and then I look at the Newton and think, it'd be nice if that thing worked. I don't want to, the Newton though is probably rare enough that I don't want to just rip its guts out and replace all the internals. Yes. So Gavin said ESP Home is different and more extensible. Okay, more extensible than Tasmoda. I guess that's what it's referring to. Oh, my throat is... okay, hang on. Oh, Peter. Yeah, your Newton still works. Yeah, last time I checked, my Newton still worked. Of course, there's nothing much you can do with it. You can start it up. And what was the connectivity on it? I think it was, what was the Apple? There was Apple's own networking system that was based on RS-485 or something. Is it over here? Where's my Newton? I don't know. It'll be in one of these drawers. I won't bother getting it out. If people care, maybe that's something I can try at some other time. No, okay. I am going to go and look for, ooh, I think I just heard thunder. I think there is a storm coming. Storm's coming, Annie. Better get inside. So, I think about half the people just jumped off after hearing that quote. So, is it in here? I have a feeling it's in this one. Yes, here it is. Here's my Newton. sleeve. So, hang on, there's a hard thing in here. Oh, that's just a protection plate. So this sleeve has a hard plate in it, but I think that's just to protect the screen when the Newton is inside it. Now, I had this battery compartment. Oh yeah, that's right, this thing used regular batteries. I'd forgotten about that. I have no idea if my overhead camera is working at the moment because I just switched a whole bunch of things around. Overhead camera, let's see if it's working. No, it's locked up. All right, overhead camera is this one. I'm going to turn it off and back on again, and hopefully that will unlock it. I switched around the video capture devices because the one that I was using, it's just locked up again. Look at that, my hand is no longer there, and it locked up almost immediately. That is the this video capture device that's running on that is the Cam Link. The Cam Link locks up almost immediately, and I've tried running it on different USB ports and all sorts of different things. It just frequently locks up. So one of the things I did right before this live stream was I took the Cam Link off my main camera and swapped it with one of the little cheap Chinese capture devices, and the Chinese capture device has been working perfectly. So I might have to swipe the other one off the microscope. Anyway, this is the Newton message pad. What does it need? Batteries, replace backup, in use, replace main. So it's got no backup battery in there at the moment. So I think what you have to do is push that mechanical, it's got like a mechanical lock. In fact, you can see it there. When it's across to replace backup, this little orange thing here slides across so you can get the backup battery out. Ugh, why can't I slide it back? Maybe because once it's been opened, you can't do it again until you've put the battery back in place. Oh yeah, there's a little pin in there. So I'll press the pin in, slide this back. Okay, so if I push it over that way, I should be able to get this out. How do I release that? Ah, come on. See instructions on battery compartment lid. You mean I've got to read the instructions? All right, so turn off the power, replace main, insert a coin into the slot on the left side of the battery holder. Coin? Who has coins? Use tweezers. All right, so these are uses a bunch of AAAs, it looks like. So let's get some AAAs and chuck them in there. I suspect that it probably really wants alkaline cells, and I don't think I have any, but I have just cheapy things. So let's see if this Newton will come to life with some batteries in it and do anything. Now, networking, that's right. The whole point of a Newton, well, apart from being portable, is that it had some connectivity. So it's got a modem built into it, I think, if I remember correctly. It's so long since I've done anything with this. I wonder if it's even going to start up without the backup battery in place. Hopefully it will. All right, so what have we got here? I should zoom the overhead camera back out a little bit, just so you can see more of it. All right, so we've got the stylus stuck in the side. On this side, there's the power switch. What's going on there? That's an eject. That's right. There's a slot in the top. So how does that work? Oh, you pull that up and then press that, and it ejects. It's just got a holder. That's right. There was a PCMCIA card modem that would go in there, and I think there was there an Apple? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Here we go. So there's the port that you could use for a serial connection, I think. There's an external power connection. So I used to have this. In fact, you can see some adhesive marks on this. See that just there? I used to have tape on this because I had a bigger battery pack attached to the back, and then I had taped it over, and the battery pack had a lead that came around and plugged into the external power connector. So that's how I powered up. So let's see if it boots. Come on. Is it going to start? I see nothing. That's disappointing. How if I press and hold it? Nope. I wonder if I run external power into it, whether I would be able to boot it. Now, what is the voltage on these things? 7 volts, 0.45 amps max. I can arrange that. Now, what I just need is the correct connector to go into that. I'm disappointed that it's not just booting when I plug the batteries in. But, oh well. What do I need? Alright, so that is not a 2.1mm DC jack. It looks like something a bit smaller than that. This is a 2.1mm that I've got here. That's not going to fit, I'm pretty sure. No, it does not. So, what did I have plugged into this? Somewhere around, I probably have a power connector that will go into that. Connector overflow. What do I have in my random connectors box? Maybe not anything that would be useful for this. Do I have anything useful? What is that? Don't know. Yeah, no. What's that one? No. These will all be 2.1 or 2.5mm. Oh, what's that? That's 2.5. That's not going to work. Somewhere at some point I would have had the correct connector for this, obviously, but I don't know where it's gone. None of that seems useful. So, is there any other way I can dodgy a connection into this to get power into it? I don't think there is. Not safely, and not like immediately here now without any particular effort. I wonder what... I'm tempted to just pull this thing apart. I don't recall if I've ever had it open before. What's the time? 11:40. Alright. Who votes for me pulling apart my Newton to see what's inside it? Set the battery compartment to in use. Under the AA's. Looked like a lot like a lithium backup battery sitting in the compartment under the AA's. Mike says maybe. So I'll do replace main. Pop that back out again. Oh, I see what you mean. No, I don't know why they've done that. That is part of the front panel that is machined out of it, and then there is a hole in the plastic. So that looks like, that thing right there looks like a battery. It's not. It's the same material as there. It's all one continuous piece. Very odd. Oh, what's behind? Ah, I know why. It's because the logo is there. So this logo is recessed. That thing there would be to allow the recess for the logo to come in. So that's, yeah, you're right. It looks very much like a battery, but it's not. So I wonder if it needs a, what is this battery? What's the diameter of that? 20, it'll be like a, yeah, it'll be a 20mm battery, but is it 3 volts or 1.5? What is the battery type? For more information, see the Newton User's Guide. All right, Apple Newton. Someone Google Apple Newton backup battery for me. It's probably something like a CR2032, and I have plenty of those. So let's have a quick look. Apple Newton backup battery. Post it on. Yeah, CR2032. Okay, My guess was correct. So let's grab a 2032, because this might be the thing that makes it work. Oh, I've just woken up my voice assistant somehow. So I've got to see our 2032 here. Hopefully this is what makes it work. Place, it's got all these safety interlocks, so I can't slide this to change that battery. That way. Does that fit? That doesn't look like it fits. I think this is... Oh no, it does. Okay. So yeah, it won't let me slide this back across until the battery's in place. And it wouldn't let me slide it that way until this battery was in place. So let's do this now and then back into in use. So we now have brand new backup battery and we've got new main batteries, although they are not lithium batteries, they're just regular, like heavy duty AAAs. I see nothing happening. I wonder if there is an actual problem with it, or if it is just the fact that my my batteries, these super cheap carbon batteries, are not adequate. It might just be that they are not waking it up. So yeah, all right, where is that? I'm gonna have a quick squeeze over here because I did have this, before I moved it over to that other drawer a while ago, that Newton was sitting in a drawer over here. So there may even be random stuff related to it. Now the battery pack that was connected to it, I don't even remember what that was. This is all ancient history. This stuff is so old. Oh look, I've just found a couple of Palm Pilots. Oh no, there's a Palm Zir and a Palm 3E. More antiques. What have I got in here? Checking different drawers. There are some different... Oh! This is a riveting live stream, isn't it? I am off camera somewhere, digging through drawers and stuff, and you can't even see me. I'm just finding odds and ends in old drawers, but it doesn't look like anything that is going to help solve this particular problem. Sadly, no. So, I think the next thing to try is to see what's inside its guts. So let's begin by, no, that's not going to do it. Replace main battery. I'm going to remove both these batteries, so there's no power on it at all. And what have I got here? So, oh, that's a tri-point screwdriver. This is a normal screwdriver. So I bet that there is probably a quite a community of enthusiasts around the Newton. There is bound to be. There pretty much is around every old Apple product. And there are probably people, they're very annoyed at me doing this sort of thing. But let's see. Now, are there any other screws? I don't know. Is it going to go sproing? Maybe. Wonder if there are other concealed connectors or anything. No, not connectors, screws. Yeah, this is a oh, there are a couple more. This is the sort of situation where I really should look up an online guide of how to disassemble an Apple Newton. But instead, I'm just going to go for it and mess it up. Any other screws? We seem to be clear on that side. What about this side? The interesting thing is there was a screw there, but there's no screw over this side that I could see, which suggests that there may be something concealed or a clip. And also things like this little slide power switch, that'll be a spring-loaded mechanism. And there's all this spring-loaded mechanism in here. Oh, is that a screw in the end there? What is under that? I don't know. Is that like a plastic cover for a screw? Oh look, my video is frozen again. All right, time to reboot the capture on that. Hopefully it comes back. Yes, it does. So there's this little round thing here. I wonder if that is a cover. Oh, it is. Look at that. Don't know where it's gone now. It was just like a little sticker. So there is another screw in the end there. So that's now out. All right, maybe now I'll make a little bit more progress. Comes free there. The plastic on this is kind of weird. It's not hard plastic and it's not soft. It's like a a rubberized, spackled finish. I wonder if there is another screw under that little pop cover. I suspect there might be. Oh no, that side of the thing has come away. Now I don't want to hear anything go crack. I don't like this. Oh, okay, it's come free. Here we go. All right, so there are the guts of the Newton. There are some interesting looking chips there. Look at these ones. Very strange form factor there. Really wide and narrow that way, so pins along the ends there. But anyway, the point of all of this was I just wanted to get to this power connector because I wanted to feed some volts into it and see if this thing would come to life. Now, let's just buzz out those connections and make sure I've got the right thing. So the central pin, which will be positive, is there. And the side that is, I'm making an assumption that the central pin is positive. It had better be. Or I might be about to kill a Newton. So I'll see if I can connect to the side contact without connecting. There we go. Okay, so that I believe is negative. That will be positive. I think. I hope. I really, really hope. So I should be able to. I don't know. I'm being cautious about this because I don't want to kill a Newton. That looks like a. I don't even know what that part is. Kind of looks like a bridge rectifier, but I don't know. L4H is what it says. Where does that go? Oh, that'll just be the speaker leads. Yes, so I am I'm being cautious about this. I do not want to just kill it. Now, the question is my microscope capture working? I actually don't even know. Let's find out. Microscope. Yes, looks like it is working. Focus is way off, but it is working. All right. So this is where the connection comes in, and I just broke the tip off my scalpel getting that little cover off. So that is probably the positive lead coming in, and that is probably negative. but I am not 100% entirely convinced that that is the case. So before I just start injecting voltage into here, I want to see what's going on. Alright, so let's see if we can find some other obvious ground location. Just so I can check that I've got it the correct way around. Oh, interesting. There is a largish capacitor there. Let's try... I've got no idea what that thing's doing. From there to there. Yes. Yes, at least that. I'll draw it both ways because of the capacitor charge. Okay, so that connection seems to be ground. And what was it saying that it wanted? 7 volts? Where is it? 7 volts, 0.45 amps max. Okie dokie. Let's get a lead onto that. Okay, jumpers, headers. I will get a chunk of red wire and a chunk of black wire. And I'm just doing this because I want to bring the power connection out to a point where I can just get alligator clips onto it from the bench supply. And that way we can turn it over and see the front while power is connected in the back, because if I just put alligator clips or whatever onto this area here, I should reduce the magnification there, bring that up and give you a better overview. Yeah, if I try to put alligator clips onto here, it's just gonna fall off as soon as I move anything. So I'm just going to temporarily solder a couple of wires into place, patched onto those bits of terminal, and then we can get power into this sucker and see if it will power up at all. Come on. Right, so I want positive on here, and I'll just tin this other wire. That one can be negatory. Hopefully that is okay. Now, let us switch back to the overhead view, and it has crashed again, so we'll kill that, bring it back. Bench supply time. Now, where's my... Where are we? There. Alright, so bench supply, I want VSET 7. VSET 7, and I'm going to set it to... What will I do as a reasonable current limit? Let's set it to 0.3 amps to start with. It says 0.45. Oh, we still don't have the overhead back. It says 0.45 amps max is what the thing needs. What I'm just thinking about is we need enough current going into it that it is going to boot, but we don't want enough that it's going to fry stuff if I have screwed things up. So yeah, 300 milliamps, and we'll see what happens. Okay, now lab supply is on, so we now have, whoa, look at this, something was happening. Newton has booted. Wow. Okay, got the trusty tablet here. I wonder what's on here. Hold the Newton pen on the center of the X in the center until it darkens, and then lift the pen. Yeah, the screen contrast is it's really hard to see. So there, until it darkens, and then lift the pen. Okay, it darkened, and there. So this is the screen calibration feature. All right, so we now have a running Newton. Oh, interesting. So I wonder what's on here, if anything. I've just got to angle the screen so that we can see things. So names. I wonder if this has got anything. Oh, Bob Anderson. No, this is all of the factory stuff. So when Newtons were first shipped, they had things like Bob Anderson as an example file card, and it's got up and down navigation. Newton Cafe, Linda Thomas, Royce Walthrop. So these were all virtual business cards, and this is what they thought people would use in the future with these virtual business cards. So I'm just going to try deleting or closing. What have we got here? Extras, inbox, outbox connection. Let's have a look. I'll see if there is anything in here. Oh, beam, that's right. This thing used infrared. So the idea was that because wireless networking was not really a thing when these came out, they used infrared networking to beam information to and from them. Prefs, personal. Does it have any of my personal stuff in here from years ago? No, it doesn't. Preferences. So it's all just default. Now, how do I scroll? Oh, down here. Okay, maybe? Yes. So you click on here, and that makes the screen scroll. Shape recognizer. Ah, cool. That's right, it had some funky stuff like if I go to extras, card styles. No, come on. What I'm looking for are the old style equivalent of apps. There was a thing where you could just do oh, what am I doing? I'm being so silly. It's just the thing on the desktop. Like, this is the notes. I was looking for a program to do note taking, and the thing is that is what the desktop is. So if we say hello, and it's just converted it from handwriting into text. Now, if I just for the hell of it, let's do this. Like and subscribe. Vice aid subscribe. Okay, so don't like and subscribe. Vice aid subscribe. So undo. Oh, and now. Oh, yeah, okay, so then it's showing what I actually wrote, and then it's got alternative word selections. And it has not come up with and, which is what it should have been. So now I can correct it, and I can go to the keyboard and say it should have been and. Done. Okay. So this one, no, 2% was. So this is what I wrote. You can see there, like. I can read that as like. It thinks it should be vice, rice, tire, fire, or 2.5%. So it thinks that is a 2, and that would be a point instead of my I, and then it thinks that is a percent symbol. That actually kind of makes sense, but let's move the cursor there. Come on. No, how do I delete this? Oh, that's right. You just scrub stuff out. I'd forgotten about this. This is all coming back to me now. This is so long ago. So the idea was that you would treat this kind of like a notepad, and to delete stuff, you would just scribble it out and it would disappear. So let's try that again. Like and subscribe. No, it still thinks that my and is, let's see. Oh, add was close, almost. I'm going to change that to and. Okay, like and subscribe. And then how do we, I'm trying to remember how to, yeah, there are shortcuts for, now I've got a thing in there. Can I select like that? No. Can I scrub that? No. What if, oh, I have to undo, undo, undo. But there is nothing to undo. Okay. So it also does, it's only got like 2 levels of undo, or 3 levels. You can also do geometry, like you can draw a box. Let's see if I draw a circle, will it turn it into a circle? No. It's turned my scribbling out into geometric lines. So I'll do undo, undo, undo. Nothing to undo. Yeah, it's only got 2 levels of undo. Let's see if I can make this disappear. Yeah. Okay. No. Oh, I can underline. Okay, that works. And then that just removed one thing. So I wonder if I can scribble that out without scribbling out the end. Oh, you can. Okay. And so, okay, we've got a couple of things here. You can turn on or off the handwriting recognition. So if I turn it off and I go like that, oh, it's still got the geometry recognition. So let's get rid of that. Oh, come on. I'm trying to scribble it out. Okay, so I've turned off text recognition and geometry recognition. So now if I type, well, if I write hello, it'll just stay as exactly that shape. If I turn on geometry recognition and I do an H, ooh, it's having trouble. The screen just went weird. I don't know what's going on with that. It's turned those into straight lines. So with geometry recognition on, if I try to draw a box, it turns it into a box. And if I draw a diamond, it turns it into a diamond. Circle. No, my circle failed. Let's get rid of these things. I wanted it to do a, there it goes. It just recognized that and turned it into a circle. And we've lost overhead camera again. So I think that if I'm still trying to get this overhead camera back. I think that if, oh, it did come back and then I killed it. I think if I put proper batteries in this, it would probably work. But yeah, that's right. You can see there that it's made this circle. So if I'll scribble out the circle and do that, and it makes a circle. So I wonder if I can do an arrow. No, doesn't recognize arrows. No, it just treats it as like a collection of lines, not as an actual arrow. So can I move things? I think I can, no. I think there was a way of like holding and selecting, and then you could move objects around, but maybe not. I don't remember. But anyway, it seems that I have a working Newton, apart from the lack of power. No idea what I can do with this. It's been sitting in a drawer for years and years and years. Right. Oh, Sion said, 5-minute lunch warning, this is going to end badly. Yes. Okay, I should... Aaron says, put USB-C on the Newton for a laugh. Okay, as I understand it, this here is an Apple serial port, which is RS4, I think RS485. You know, I could do something with this. I could work with this. And there's even room in here. Look how much space there is. I could fit a little PCB in here. I could put a tiny little board in here with something like a CP2102 on it and connect that. Now what I would need to do though is interface with the RS485. I'm having evil thoughts about things I could do to this. I bet that there is a whole community of people who have modded Newtons. There has to be. Yeah, there has to be. Yeah, oh, Mr. Fixit said the reason for the battery lockouts was so you couldn't take out a battery before you replace the other battery, volatile memory. Yes, so Yes, that is absolutely right. So this thing there was probably flash memory at the time, but they yeah, it wouldn't have been practical to use flash memory for this sort of device at the time. It would have just cost too much to get it. So I suspect that oh, Michael says, just assume external power always and use a battery compartment for stuff. Yeah, that's an option. Stephen says, is it worth modding your rare Newton? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how rare it is. So, where is my brain going? It was jumping around because I need to wrap this up. Yeah, I don't know how rare this Newton is. Maybe it's a collector's item, maybe it's e-waste, I just don't know. Let's have a look. Apple Newton value. Let's see. So when it was new, the Newton sold for $2,495. In today's money, that's $5,534. Wow. Yeah, I bet it's not worth that now. Okay. How much are... Oh, this is a story from 2017. Okay, 2020 market value. Apple Newton message pad. Let's see what... No, not microscope. I want desktop. No, I do not want to join your mailing list. Go away. Apple Newton message pad. So, what have we got? Mint condition up to $1,400. Working condition up to $350. Broken up to $100. So that's original message pad complete system, or the message pad 100 complete system. $350. I don't know what I've got. What is this one? I think this is an original message pad, or is it a 100? How do I tell? What does it say? It's a, the model number is an H1000. Apple Newton H1000. Powered by ARM. Oh yes, someone pointed that out. David T. Powered by ARM. Apple Newton. Oh, hang on, it said it there on that page. Did it? Apple... No. No, I was looking at the wrong thing. Apple Newton H1000. Which model is it? That is the... Yeah, it's a 20 megahertz ARM 610. And it is this the original or is it the 100? There's the junior prototype. It is. This is the original message pad. Okay. So, it's worth a few $100, perhaps. Not exactly going to retire on it. If it was in mint condition, which this one isn't really, it's pretty good condition, but it's not mint. It's not in a box or anything. Up to $1,400. Oh yeah, the special clear case edition. So yeah, my friend Mark has one of these, which he got because he was working on, he actually worked on the printer driver interface for the for the Newton, and so I think members of the dev team got their special clear case edition. I wonder what that is worth. I wonder if he could retire on that now. Apple Newton Clear Case Edition. Yeah, it looks like this. Oh, that's a 110 clear case. I'm not sure which model it is that he's gotten in the clear case edition. Oh, it says there, $1,050 will score you that one. That was in 2019. Yeah, okay. Well, that's less than I expected. So, $1,000 for a clear case edition Apple Newton. So I suspect that this site, which is saying the market value of a a non-clear case edition, so just an original, as being up to $1,400, that is probably being a little optimistic. It's probably not much. Not much. Aussie just said, that's USD. That makes you an Aussie millionaire, right? Yes. I will be living the high life. I was just going to say something that culturally does not convert very well because of the wording. So I was going to say I could upgrade my thongs to something else. But when in Australia, in other parts of the world, the footwear that people call flip-flops, for some reason in Australia they're called thongs. I don't know why. And a thong in other parts of the world is a totally different piece of clothing. So, okay, I could upgrade my flip-flops. I could get a second, I could have Sunday best flip-flops and I could have weekday flip-flops. Two pairs. Right. Oh, interesting. So, 3D printing services for clear cases for devices. Saw an example on Twitter for a Game Boy. It looked awesome. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Somewhere around, I used to have some PCMCIA devices that plugged into my Newton, but I've got no idea where they are now. I had a, viewing, my stream just did something strange. All right, I think that is enough messing around with old Apple technology. So I am going to go and get some lunch. Oh, Peter says, don't quote me, but I think the earlier models had flash, but they removed them to lower the price. Buffering a lot, yeah. Yes, it is buffering a lot. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know if you can hear me anymore. So, oh look, it looks like it just updated. So I'm going to call it a day. And I am going to wind it up now. So, thank you for coming along. I'm going to see if, yeah, it looks like there is something happening with the stream. Like, there is some stuff getting through, but not everything. It's only a few frames. So, I don't even know if you can hear me right now. I am going to oh, hang on, I'm going to have to mute that. So I am going to go and how do I do this? I switch to that, and you should still be able to hear me because audio is coming in through a separate channel. But I'm going to sign off. So goodbye everybody, thanks for coming, and I will talk to you all really, really soon. Okay, see ya.